This is the Ichimoku Cloud update for Monday, July 26th, 2010. And here we have, again, starting off with the S&P 500 index. Here we are here, trading still below the cloud. And you may remember that we got three moves down on the S&P 500. The first move was about here, and we had profits on the inverse fund as well as S&P 500 puts. And then we had this big move up here. That's when we bought Netflix and VMW. We got out. We got this big move down here. That was a nice one for us. And then we waited this move out, and then this little move down here, which I had originally expected it to go lower. We had some small profits on the puts because I just kept raising the stop. And then on SDS we had a very small loss, less than $1. And so here we are here, still trading below the cloud. It's going to be difficult to get very bullish unless we move through this cloud. It can either be a move right up here, which would actually get it to be overbought territory on a daily basis, or it could be a sideways movement through the cloud over this way, which is something that I would expect more. I don't necessarily expect a huge move down at this point. So what I'm doing now is putting together the shopping lists. And a stock that I always watch almost every single day is Freeport-McMoRan. This is one of the biggest copper stocks in the world, and it's really one of the ones that you can watch and have on a buy list or a list where you're going to be basically monitoring every day, because it's one of the best commodity stocks to monitor, and we're still in a commodity-based economy. So this is the daily stock of Freeport. It's still trading below the cloud, but it did make a big breakout. If you look at these red lines here, from here, from here, from here, it's really a triple breakout. So if you want to make this on a buy list, for the short term, which is what I'm putting together right now in case this bull market still continues, I'm going to look at the 240-minute chart. Here we have a huge break of the cloud, and I'm not a big fan of ever buying the breakouts. The only time I would buy a breakout is if a stock was at a very low level and started consolidating and breaking out that way, or if the market was absolutely falling apart, I might short a breakdown. So what we have here is Freeport's at about 71. I want to buy it on a pullback right around about 67. So we can actually enter a buy limit order for 67. And what you have here, buying at this area here, is that you have the cloud very close, which would be support. Down here, also support, and the stop point would be quite close. So I think it would be a good risk-reward trade on FCX is to buy on a buy limit order, which would be down here at this lower level. Here we are with gold. This is the daily chart of gold, and you might remember, I'm going to bring this back into view here. This was way back in December when we got this huge move here with the triple on the call options, and then we just got out. We actually got out right here after it just became too crazy. Lots of consolidation in and out of the cloud. We basically avoided it the entire time. And here we are at an interesting place again with gold, right here hugging the bottom of the cloud. I don't think it looks that great. It's below this blue line here, which is the Tenkan line. It's like a 9-day moving average, and just above here is the 26-day moving average. And it's weak. I'm not really interested in gold at this point. I trade gold just like anything else, and when the chart shapes up and it can really move, then that's when I'm interested in it. When it doesn't have a great chart, there's really no reason to be in gold, regardless of the fundamentals and the money printing and everything else going on, because you don't necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes when there's a slowdown in the money supply, which has been happening in the United States as far as consumers and families are going. It's only the government money supply that is expanding, and that could possibly continue, because if you've read a lot of my commentary over the past few months or even years, you know that the government is in their best interest to create inflation, because they just inflate the debt away, and the people that are hurt the most are the poor, because prices go up with inflation, as well as people who save. So we're basically in a credit buy everything now economy. If you can't make your car payment, you can't make the house payment, you just walk away. They bring it back. It's not a sustainable way to really have a society. It just happens to be the way things are right now. So gold here, this is all based on future money supply expectation. Is the government going to keep printing or not? So right now I'm basically just avoiding gold, but it could make a nice move up here, through the cloud, back down to the top of the cloud again, and then I would be interested in gold again, but not necessarily at this moment. This is the daily chart on USO, which tracks oil. And oil is something that we also have to track pretty much all the time. And things are looking okay now for gold. Let me switch to the 240-minute chart, which is really a great time frame I find for trading. And here's the 240-minute time frame, and things are not bad on USO. I'm going to take a closer look at this and see if I add it as a buy limit order in today's update. Euro daily chart. Here we are at 1.2933. This is a live chart, and it's broken through the daily cloud, so this would officially put the euro back in positive territory. It was way back here where it peaked out at about 1.51. And you may remember here, this was when Mark Faber was on CNBC. I sent out a link and he was talking about getting back into the euro, and I said, I don't know. It's just about to touch the cloud here at about 1.35, and then it just absolutely collapsed after. So here we are on the daily chart. Things are still okay for the euro. However, keep in mind that this is a daily chart, and the euro could still drop down to approximately 1.28, and it would still be in bullish territory. This is a pattern I've seen a lot of times where it goes through the chart, through the cloud, comes back down here to touch the top of the cloud as it's coming back up again, and that's something you really should be watching out for on the euro. It could take quite some time, about 2-3 weeks, for that to happen. Here's the Australian dollar at 0.8965 on the daily chart. It's broken through the cloud here, back to positive territory again. But if I look at the weekly chart, which is really pretty much too big a time frame for currencies in my opinion, it actually never did break through. This was way back at the big crash of 2008 and 9, from 65 cents almost up to 95 cents. This was an incredible trade, basically because the Australian dollar pays a lot of interest. So the more leverage you have, the more interest you're actually collecting. So it's not going to be 2%, it's going to be 20, 30, 40% interest that you can collect. But it never broke the weekly cloud here. So that means that the Aussie dollar still has some strength, and it breaks the daily cloud. And looking at the 240 cloud, it's also above the 240 cloud. This blue line here again is the Tenkan line, which is similar to a 9-day moving average. So when it's above the cloud, when it's above the Tenkan line and the Kijun line, which is like a 26-day moving average, then things are quite strong for the currency pair. One last ticker I wanted to look at today was silver using SLV, and we're looking at the daily chart right here. It's trading below the cloud, 1772, and when something's trading below the cloud, especially when it rallies up to this resistance, which the cloud then becomes, it's really not something I'm interested in as a trade. As far as holding silver coins, I really do recommend that, and you can buy those at Kitco, KITCO.com. They're one of the most reputable dealers that I know of. And silver is the type of thing where silver is portable, and it's worth approximately in the low 20s per coin, and that's something that I wanted to use as an experiment, to bring a few silver coins along with me, find something that a merchant is selling for around $30, and see if they'll take a silver coin instead. Now this is the 240-minute chart for silver, and it's also trading below the cloud here. So I really wouldn't be interested in silver at all unless it got past this cloud, and even if it did, it would probably make a pullback then to the top of the cloud again. So that's today's update for July 26th.